right, welcome into episode 309. As you can see, I'm alone, which kind of sucks. No Noelle, but she's on vacation and much needed one. Happy for her that she went on vacation and can relax and then come back and get right back into all this stuff. Robin is here. She's helping me produce, but she's in the other room, and you'll see her maybe in the message board and stuff like that. Don't forget on the bottom of the screen, Robin does need a kidney, and we are looking for one. There's the number to call for ECMC if you feel like you can donate a kidney. It's a huge ask, I know, but if you ever felt like you could be a kidney donor or a organ donor, please call that number and say you want to give a kidney to Robin Rustino. If not, go to my page on Facebook, Robin's page, Noelle, Citizens United. Just share the story for us, because the more people that see it, maybe someone will come forward and we can get Robin the kidney she needs. Before we start, and we got a great guest today because we're going to be talking about all things Niagara Falls and what he thinks maybe we could do. Because you guys know, you've heard me talk enough, where I'm just at the point where I don't know anymore. I hate to say I've given up, but it's just it doesn't. I don't feel like. I mean, everyone comes around and has good intentions for sure, and then it just goes right to hell. But that's just the way it goes. It's a machine. I'm going to talk to Thomas about the machine that runs this place, and that also includes the two parties, political parties that run everything as well. Let me bring in our guest. His name is Thomas Gidlow. You guys have seen him probably online. He's been involved in a lot of stuff in Niagara Falls. He's from Niagara Falls. He's getting into it now, and which is cool and great, because we need someone. It's always a good idea to have someone with just outside of here, because you can look at it differently. I'm so jaded and sick of it and disgusted and full of disgust. I can't even take it. But himself, he can be out there looking at this and like, I see something. Maybe there's a glimmer of hope. Maybe there's something we're not seeing. So let's bring Thomas Gidlow in, our guest. Hey, Thomas.
How you doing?
Good. I'm glad you're here. Happy to have you.
It's an honor to be here with you, John.
Thomas, tell us your connection to Niagara Falls.
So I was not born there originally. I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, but my parents were from the area. So 4 months old, they decided that they'd had enough of the swamp and the rain and all that stuff, and moved back to cold, snowy Niagara Falls. And we have a lot of family up there. So I lived there from 84 to 98. Lived in Niagara Falls, Town of Niagara, Lewiston, Youngstown, all over the place. Saunders Settlement, Macune Avenue. My grandparents used to have a place on James Avenue. Spent a lot of time around there in Hyde Park and all over the place. We moved in 98 and moved to North Carolina. Dad couldn't find work up there, so he found, of course, down here, at the time and even now, there's just booming jobs. So I've been here ever since, but I've been back a few times. And this most recent time back, just want to say there are still people in the city that are very passionate about the future of the city, and it's contagious. Like it really did suck me in. There's a group of folks that just aren't giving up. They'll never give up, and it's been very inspiring to see that. They sucked me right in. I got to attend a council meeting, which was really cool. And I've just tried to, try to be helpful where I can and speak out where I can from afar for now.
Yeah, Thomas, it's funny. Your family moves in '97, and like a lot of families moved that time. That time
Mm-hmm.
was one of the. It really, that was the true nail in the coffin, because a
Yeah.
lot of people left. I mean, a lot. A lot of my friends left, had to leave to find work. They just had to go. There was nothing left here. All of Buffalo Avenue was dying. Right, everything was going away. Real quick, at that point, we went from, in 1990, we had 61,957 people in the city. By the time we get to 2010, we're at 50,100. So, it was just,
Mm.
you had to go, and everyone had to go. It wasn't just Niagara Falls, though. Let's not,
Yeah.
it wasn't just that. It was the entire
No,
Rust Belt.
my dad worked for I believe his last job was Modern Envirotech in Lewiston, actually. So
Yeah.
when they laid him off, he looked around and he worked for Warren and Modern were the two jobs I remember as a kid that he had. And once they laid people off, that was it. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot left. And at the time, we were in town of Niagara on Saunders Settlement, right up against the reservoir, and the writing was on the wall. There just wasn't anything there. So got the itch to go to Raleigh. He was actually there for a whole year before we ended up moving down. And yeah, it was sad to leave, but kind of had to. Didn't have much choice.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. No, it's fun. I remember my father in the 80s, like I'm talking like 1985,
Hmm?
him who owned a business, my uncle who worked at Nabisco, both saying that things were not going well. Like both then saying this place is just not,
Right.
it's going down, going down. That was in the 80s. Geez, we're in 2026, 97s and the 90s, NAFTA does what it does, and now we got a rust belt and we haven't gotten better. We haven't even it's no different than it
Well,
was in 97. There's no work.
I
Still.
mean, there's a lot of different things that contributed. I come at it from a much, and now being in, I'm 42. I'm an adult. I do a lot of digging. I've done research back, throughout the years in the area, and the city was sold down the river about 60 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe even further back. The deals they made with the industrial companies, that was literally anything else that happened after that. Um, would have been really hard to turn that around. The deals they made, the lack of oversight, what those industrial companies did over decades, just that was it.
Well, I mean,
Unfortunately, at that time.
yeah, I mean, the choice of saying no to tourism and allowing that to go to let New York State take care of it, because that's who did. They took it. They take every
Well, that's
dime
another.
of tourism, and we went the other way. We went to industrial, and we're on the water. It seemed to be right, and I guess for people, and it was going great. I mean, there was a time where the 80s were pretty good, even though people were saying it was going down the hill. They could feel it, I guess, as being adults. But yeah, no, I agree with you. We were, and I think the state of New York, Thomas, is one of our worst enemies here, because in my mind, they really don't care about Niagara County, and they don't care about many counties, but they'll take care of Buffalo. It's not bad to handle North Tonawanda. Let's help them out the best we can. Niagara Falls, man, I don't know what you see of it, but like there's Goat Island, and that's they don't really want you to go much further than Third Street. And you notice it ends right at Third. I mean it's over. There's a
Pretty much,
hotel, and everyone goes to the park, and that's it.
for sure. I, I look at it more of like a macro view. I'm not there. I haven't been there. I only, peripherally know of some of the things in terms of the stuff I haven't researched. When I was a kid, I was blissfully unaware of a lot of this stuff. Um, but just through all the conversations I've had and people that I've talked um, to me, it just seems like they're, even if the state is less involved, and even if the county is doing what the county's doing, um, I still, maybe sillily, feel that there's still a chance for this city because of some of the people that are still there fighting. And I'll tell you, they've sucked me in. They've inspired me, um, to advocate and to be involved and potentially even come back. I mean, I've had thoughts of it. It won't be any time in the next recent period, but hopefully here in the next year or so, maybe. It's definitely on the table. I feel like I feel the calling back, and this is before there. We talk about the renewal and the things like that. So for me, I just feel like if we can galvanize the people, and we have one shot really at some point, because I think they've been promised everything under the sun. They've been told all this change is coming. They've been told, just vote for me and we'll turn this thing around. And decade after decade, election after election, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
This really is, the 2027 period in my humble opinion, is the chance that the people really have to say we need to find people that are going to do this for us and help us and fix the foundation. Fix the foundation first. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, but I stress it's so important to address the core issues. You cannot put Band-Aid on a gushing wound over and over again and expect it to stop bleeding. So, I mean, we can get into the weeds of it, but that's kind of like the basic idea.
Well, what is your thought? Because I know you wrote up a nice thing before coming on the show. You put it out on Facebook. It was kind of an explanation of who you are and then what you were thinking. Tell me more about renewal, because honestly, I think me and you both agree the city can't be, you can't really save it. You kind of almost have to build, you have to rebirth it. It has to be reborn. Like it's not, I don't
Well,
think it's savable. I
yeah.
think it's like dead, and we kind of got to we got to figure out it's dead. And then, like you said, start from the bottom and start up.
To that point, what I would say to that is, to me, I think there's no return to glory, because I don't know that the city really ever had its full glory. Yeah, it had good times, but those good times were sitting on a on a surface that was boiling underneath, quite literally, right?
Right.
So
Right.
they paid that price 100 years ago when they started all this industrial stuff. But to me, the way that this thing can still turn out uh, well for the people of the city is that sorry, that actually distracted me. My fault.
Oh,
Um, there was I thought it was
sorry
a
about
comment.
that.
Um, so there has to be a serious conversation from people that have serious intentions, that literally go and talk to the people where they're at, door to door. I know people do town halls, and I knew people do these events and stuff like that, and that's great. But to me, the basic principle of going to talk to people in every area of the city, not just the nice ones, not just the people that you expect to vote or something to that effect. Talk to people like they're human beings and say, what is it that you want? What is it that you need? And go from there. Now, there are certain core principles that I firmly believe in that the city can do, will take time, but to, like, I mean, I have all these different ideas. City Hall, I mean, we can all agree, does not work. Um, Top to bottom restructuring is 50 years overdue, with the way that that place runs. Um, all these Hail Mary projects, if it's, Centennial Park, which we could go hours on, if it's, whatever the latest new thing is, one or two projects is not going to turn this thing around. You can bring businesses in, but you have to fix what's broken. You have to take care of the people that have
Right.
stayed, whether by choice or not. You have to reckon with that. These people have stayed here. There are people still fighting beyond reason at this point. You have to take care of them. You have to go through the city budget line by line. A budget triage is long overdue. We just accept the fact that $100 million city budget is what it is. That's just the way it is, right? The bid
Right.
process, just the way it is. Um, those are the basic concepts. I mean, again, I could drill down into it, but there's still, at the end of the day, to me, because there are people there that still care and that are still turned into what's going on and are still fighting, I feel very strongly that there still is a potential future to rise above that. And to sort of tie it back to what I said at the beginning, um, the renewal idea, change has been bandied about forever. It's been all about change. We're going to bring
Right.
change. We're going to do this. New Niagara Falls. Um, the core idea is that a renewal at the most basic level to take care of what's broken and to focus on those efforts can bring about a new future that can start bringing people back, that can start bringing businesses back. And I know it sounds flighty and I know it sounds like wishy washy. There are ways to go about doing this. It just takes people to rise up and say, you know what, I want to be part of this process. And I think there are still a few of those people there.
Yeah, I think we got some of them here in our message board. Let's check out some messages. Couple people just saying hi right here. Philomena, hi, Philomena. Thanks for
Right.
watching. Here's somebody who's trying. Of course, we know this. Ronnie, how you doing, Ronnie? So,
Hey,
she's got a couple comments too. I want to bring up. We need a whole restructure of the charter, every single department. Yeah, yeah. The charter gets
one of the
stomped on.
things,
I mean, and it's supposed to be the of the city, and actually, it just gets it has no teeth, right? at all.
Well,
It's just
because
there. But
whether it's the council or whoever, it doesn't have teeth unless you effectively make it have teeth. There are
right,
things, and I agree wholeheartedly with what went on Friday, flagrant violations of the city charter as if it didn't even exist with this state of emergency stuff. So
right,
I'm not going to go down that road right now, but just suffice it to say that um, the charter exists. You have to make it mean something. So somebody has to stand up and say, you know what, we're going to hold you to account to this. And I think, you know, one of the biggest, maybe not biggest, but one of the changes I certainly would make, because there's so much to do and there's so much need to address the things that are ailing in the city. We've got to enough of this part-time mayor, part-time council stuff. We've got to get people involved on a daily basis. It's the only way it's going to fix these things, and that's part of the charter. The charter's like, I guess you can only meet twice a month and all this other stuff. So yeah, it was made in what? I think it was created in the 20s originally, and it's just kind of been padded on since then.
and rewritten by the current mayor when before he
Well, there you
became mayor.
go. Yeah.
He rewrote it. They hired him. Mayor Deister hired him at a part-time rate of
Really?
$30,000 to rewrite the charter. Yeah, he rewrote the city charter. I'm not.
Part
But
time.
part
Yeah.
of what he got after he was removed as judge, so he could make sure he
Hmm.
got the same. He got hired. Paul Deister hired him to rewrite the city charter, and there was two other jobs given to him throughout the county. One was like Medicare fraud investigator. So anyhow, he rewrote the city charter himself. He knows
I'm
what it
surprised they
is.
didn't put. I did, I'm surprised they didn't embed in there that you can only be city administrator if your last names are Steino. I mean, that would have been the next logical thing to do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Exactly.
I missed out. I know. I missed.
No, you didn't. Yeah,
No, I
you're
know.
good
I
with
know.
where you are.
I'm better. All right, let's get a few more. Sean Mapp is here. We know he's running for the fourth district,
Sean,
and
how
he's
you doing,
great
Mr.
guy.
Matt? I watched you on Sunday, Mr. Matt. That was excellent. That was awesome.
We have some more. Catherine Grace tells us if you look at Main Street, you feel disillusioned. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Um,
And I mean, I
Michael,
know there's some. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. It's all right. I can wait on the
If
comment.
there's, I don't know a ton about that, but obviously I know that there's some people trying to do some stuff, and there's some potential things in there. But I mean, top to bottom, you drive down that place, and it it's like a microcosm of the '90s, except 30 years have passed and nothing's happened there. It's so
Yeah,
sad.
yeah. Michael says, I'm giving myself 2 years. If things don't improve, then we're selling our home and going elsewhere. Mark my words. Yeah, I understand. No one could blame you, man. No one can blame you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you got to do what you got to do, and there's not much going here.
I,
Let's see.
I know someone that also is feeling very similar to that, and I'm hoping that they'll stay. But I totally get it. I totally understand it.
Let me see. Got more comments. Ronnie tells us my stepdaughter graduates in 3 years. If things don't improve, we're also leaving the state, at least for the winters. Dustin's business is a summer thing. Who knows? LOL. And a bunch of people just saying kind of similar things. Let me see here. Ronnie's got. I'd love to work for City Hall in some department after Rustino leaves. LOL. Yup, he did. He rewrote it. It's really crazy. Yeah.
I can only think of one position for Ronnie that I think would be absolutely perfect come January 1st, 2028, and I believe she knows which position that is.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at
Yeah.
that.
Uh, Dante Richardson's here. He says hello. Our
Dante.
friend. Yep. He says hello.
I wish that I know originally that's kind of how I kind of was noticed that I want to, in a very friendly way, of course, because I have mad respect for what Dante went through. Obviously, a horrible ordeal. We were going to do a debate or something like that. I was like, come on, let's talk or let's debate. I hope that we can do that at some point. That'd be a lot of fun.
Sean says 2 years with the right administration, enough time to turn the city in the right direction.
I
I
agree.
hope so. I
But
see.
I will say this,
I'm
and
skeptical of that.
go ahead.
I'm being honest. I'm skeptical of that. That it could be done in two
I think
years.
I think
Something that's been
part of
destroyed for this long. Go ahead.
I don't disagree. I think the we have to at least get a couple of folks, and I think this is toward a point that you were going to make at some point. We have to get a couple of folks involved who say no to the D, no to the R. They need to, so I don't know if people really are aware of this. There are 7,700 people in the city of Niagara Falls that are registered to vote that are not Democrat or Republican or the other two parties. They are unaffiliated/independent. If you were somehow to get half of them, 3,800, however many that is, which again is a big deal, don't get me wrong, but if you could do that, you'd win any election you ran for in the city. It would be mayor, city council, what have you.
Yeah.
3,800 would be, according to the last several elections. So there's that, plus a unity campaign can take people from the left, take people from the right and the middle, and bring them together. But there has to be people that can step up and step out, and that can identify with people and can relate to people and can talk to them to a person to be able to earn that trust.
Yeah. Another comment. You would think that the entire mayoral administration would care about the citizens of this city rather than our out of towners that don't care to live here anyways. This city will be Niagara Falls soon. Yeah.
I think it already is Niagara Falls. I could be wrong though,
Yeah.
unless they've changed the name.
All right. Let's
No,
see.
I look. Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, no, I understand the sentiment. I truly do. I When I moved, I was 14. I had no control over it. I had no say over it. We couldn't put food on the table in 1998, so we had to. I'm 42 now, and I'm seriously considered coming back despite everything. I mean, I live in Cary, North Carolina. It's a beautiful day. It's 70 degrees in November here, so you know, I'm seriously considering just leaving it all behind because I really feel passionate about it.
Wow.
But
Sean Mapp has a question for us. What do you guys feel about the DSA coming to Niagara Falls this weekend?
he's trying to get us in trouble, is what I think he's trying to do. No.
What do you think, Thomas?
So I don't think, I don't know as it relates to Niagara Falls. I really don't know. What I can say about this is in a general sense, from what I've seen of them, I am a Bill Maher fan. I listen to him quite often. I didn't realize I was going to talk about national stuff, but here we go. But I will say this. I think the DSA represents something that is so far removed from what this country was supposed to be. It's going to paint me on a particular side. That's fine. That's not where I hang my hat. But I will say this, that it's just as bad on the extreme right as it is on the extreme left. If we take things so far to the extreme and completely rewrite what this country is, we're going to lose everything we have. And I don't feel that it's I don't think it's a net positive. I think it may be an immediate gratification positive in a sense. And then, years down the road, you kind of realize, oh, I just gave up everything I had for that gratification. Right. If that makes any sense. I don't know.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I'm one of those no party people. I'm one of those people that are, and when I considered a city council run, that was my whole thing, was I was going to do it like that and not go with parties and just do it. Because you don't need a lot to do it here in Niagara Falls. You don't really need a ton of money. You can do it, especially with the internet and what we're doing right now. I hope someday someone does it, though. I really do. Let me ask you though.
Well, people have done it before, and I know Demetrius Nix did it not that long ago for mayor. I know people have done it for council. People have done it for mayor in the past, and no knock on them at all. I just feel like there hasn't been I hate to use the phrase ground campaign, but there hasn't been a true groundswell of I need to go door to door and I need to talk to every single person in the city. That mentality of building out a true coalition of people that really can be inspired to believe in what you're doing. And, I feel strongly that it can happen. It's certainly possible. It just takes the right group of people to step up to do it.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, I do think it's possible here in the falls to win. I do think in these small, like I
Yeah.
understand if you try to do it nationally or even statewide, it's going to be tough. But
No.
in
And
our
look, I mean,
cities,
the
yeah,
state is controlled. I mean, but Niagara Falls, there's less than 50,000 people. The mayor's races are decided by 3,600 to 3,250, something like that. So
yeah.
it's open.
You talked about. I think we might have already hit this, but what is the machine you talked about? Who do you consider the machine? Like, what's that machine?
I feel like there's been a machine in place in Niagara Falls from probably the 50s, 60s, somewhere in that range. The people that initially kind of sold the city down the river, bringing in all these industrial companies, having zero oversight, giving them all the breaks in the world, and just getting those kickbacks, making sure they were doing good. And the city bloomed from that. I mean, it was the honeymoon capital of the world in the 50s and 60s, right? So everything was great until, the bottom falls out, they leave town, and they take all the money with them. So um, that sense of machine where it's, we need to bring in more businesses that are just going to suck the life out of the city and are net negatives that, yeah, they might provide some revenue, but they're just this net negative thing. And that's that machine. I honestly feel like there are people that get into this that want to make change, and they talk about change all the time. They get into it, they get into City Hall, and a year or two go by, and then they don't even realize that they're part of the machine. The changes are, the lack of changes are visible. You walk down the street anywhere pretty much. So that's what I feel like the machine is. It's almost on autopilot at this point. And to me, the only way that it's ever going to be broken, at least from a Niagara Falls city perspective, is to get some folks in there that aren't beholden to a party, that aren't beholden to some of the people that have, that might be in positions of power, whatever the case, and have the gumption to say we need to make fundamental changes, and even in the face of heavy resistance.
Robin has a question for you. Would you ask for if you were involved? Like, would you think state help would be necessary? Would you ask for state help? And if so, what would you use it towards if you could get it?
I mean, at some level, at some point, I think that the budget triage that needs to happen would be a struggling to figure out the word. It would be an epiphany to
Mm,
see how much waste is literally in the city budget. That alone would free up some money to be able to do some other things and help people out. Um, but I sort of ultimately down the road when the foundation can be fixed a little bit at some level. Um, yeah, you have to partner with the state, you have to partner with the county, you have to partner with the government, you have to partner with private people that have money. You know, um, there are endless opportunities to bring in legit businesses and to bring in more state resources. The city already gets state resources, but as we've seen recently, the allocation of which is a shell game upon it's a shell game on top of a shell game on top of a shell game, and that kind of nonsense has to stop. So, yes, state help absolutely, but it's not so much for me a matter of okay, let's get X amount of money and let's put it towards X things. It's fix the house first, and
right.
it's not to say to stop bringing in what you're already bringing in from the state and other entities, but you got to fix the bid process. You got to fix the budget. You got to fix the services that are just not working for the people, in my view.
I was looking up places like us, kind of like us, here in Niagara Falls, and I fell upon on Google Camden, New Jersey, Youngstown, Ohio, Muncie and Gary, Indiana, both of them, and Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and all of them have the same issues we have, right? Abandonment of our downtowns, like here, Pine Avenue, and Main Street are
Mm-hmm.
pretty much abandoned, just abandoned. They've been abandoned for 30 plus years or more. Vacant properties, we know we have a lot of those. Population decline, yes, that happened here, and industry gone. So like I was trying to see what are they doing. Did you ever wonder like if they ever think that like try to figure out how did anybody else get fixed? Someone had to have like Youngstown, Ohio's fixing it's kind of fixing itself.
Mm-hmm.
Camden, New Jersey, they're but I don't know how they're doing it. because sometimes I feel like, Thomas, we're in the worst position. The worst thing we have, even though it should be the best thing we have, is the falls, because the falls is where all the money is, and where all the money is where, well, we
Right.
know who goes there. I mean, that's where if Governor Cuomo
We
can't
don't
get
get
his
any.
own
Yeah.
there, they're all going there because that's where the money is.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, I
Mhm.
just feel like sometimes that's our biggest, and it should be our greatest thing, but it's kind of our biggest like hurt.
That's a great. First of all, that's a great idea. Also, to be talking to some of these other places where they have started the turnaround. They're kind of on the other side, heading in the right direction. Is to be humble enough to say, you know what, maybe I don't know everything. Let's talk to some other people who have been in this. You know, no situation's exactly the same, but have been in similar situations to say, look, we could use some. You know, some of the ideas that you found that were successful and apply. Maybe try to apply at least a version of those here. Why not? That's a great idea, you know. But
Yeah,
you got to have people in place to be open minded for that.
we don't. Let's see. John O'Dooley says, I know we don't. Ecotourism is the one thought to help transform the city.
Yeah, you know, again, it's like with bringing in businesses and making things more attractive, and you know, trying to bring more tourists in and keep them there instead of, hey, it's the falls. Let's spend a couple hours looking at the eighth wonder of the world, and then get the heck out of here because there's nothing to do. Like I totally understand that. Um, but while we're trying, you know, while things are trying to go in that direction, while we're trying to cultivate and sort of try to change the dynamic around the falls and all of that, got to fix what's broken first. Like I will keep going back to that. It's that fundamental to me that you have to start addressing the issues that the people of the city are facing, do for them first, and also do some of these other things that, you know, can hopefully keep people in the city. Like there's so many landmarks. I mean, there's an incredible amount. Most people don't even know they exist because you go to the falls itself, you see what, a sign or two, you see this, you see that, you see the falls, you hang out. Maybe you go across the bridge, you go over to the gorge, you see, or the Goat Island, and you see all that stuff over there. Maybe you take the Maid of the Mist. But if you go up just a little ways, there's all kinds of different things, you know. So awareness for sure, but I think part and parcel of that is that people get to the falls and like, well, maybe I don't need to do anything else because time to get out of here, you know.
Yeah. Did you, when you were back home, when you came back, did you go down Pine Avenue? Do you
I don't
recall?
believe I did this last time. No, it's been a minute since I've gone down.
Yeah.
I go down like, because usually when I go up, I stay at Seneca, and
Right.
um, this last time, obviously going down towards City Hall to take in a council meeting. Um, I have vague recollections as a kid
Right.
of how hustle and bustle that place used to be all the time, and just the businesses that seemingly survived, even because even in the 90s it wasn't like super great, but it was better than it is now, obviously. But there was always
Right.
businesses, always stuff going on, people walking around and stuff like that. And pretty much anywhere in the main areas of the city where you go now, it's just, you don't see any of that stuff.
How do you do? I guess that would be the point, I guess, of maybe being open-minded enough to go look at other places. Because, like, I wonder, like, Pine Avenue's starting to look like Main Street, and we know Main Street's a ghost town.
Mhm.
But Pine Avenue,
Right.
sadly, the Como shut down. A lot of things shut down, and anything that starts ends up shutting down. It feels like, and the only thing that's left is convenience stores and maybe a few other like things. Nothing much. How
Hmm.
do you think I don't know. This is a tough question, and you're not. Maybe you don't know this. How do
Grilling
you
me, yeah.
thing to how do you ever make that look better again? You know what I
Well,
mean? Like
I
how do
think
you
some of these buildings are not savable. Like you want to try
yeah,
to keep what you can for the historical value and the look of things and stuff like that. But some of these buildings are literally falling apart and need to come down. I mean, it's unfortunate and it sucks,
yeah.
but some of these buildings just have to be demolished. And you have to have, again, it's it's an all of the above approach. You can't just do one thing here, one thing there. As you're triaging the budget and you're trying to save some money and you're trying to reappropriate it and you're looking at other programs and marshaling these programs together that you do have access to, and you know, NFR, other contractors, we'll keep that to the side for now. But in a very basic sense, get some of this money together, try to interest some private individuals and maybe are from the area, maybe are doing well. Try to bring them back and say, look, we have ample room here. We'll put in our part. We'll do our part for sure. We'll tear this building down. We'll zone this lot, whatever it takes, and try to bring stuff back that will get people to come back out, the people that are already there. And as we continue this triage and we continue to try to address the core issues that exist in the city, you can do these other things and hopefully eventually inspire some more people to start coming back and staying, and then slowly start that growth. But it's not an overnight situation. It's not there are no overnight solutions. There are no magical, in a year we'll turn this around and, Pine Avenue is going to look amazing. It's going to take time. It's the reality of the situation. And I think it's possible, but again, I keep going back to it. You have to have a full-time person in charge that is marshaling things and that is doing things every single day of the week. Not 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Their first thought when they wake up is, how can I make this city better? The last thought they have before they go to bed is, did I take a step forward in that regard? Can't have this part-time crap. It's
No.
just nothing. It's just not going to happen this way.
No, I mean there's so much. We're very unique, I think, too, being on the board. It's a unique place. We were just talking about having the falls. You got the border. You got everything. Everything that happened in the '90s all fell on top of this place, and even like Main Street doesn't come back because no one's going shopping anymore, right? It's all Amazon. So we're not going to have shop. We got to reimagine somehow to make our. I wonder what downtowns are like in real places. Because when I look at ours, I think to myself, this has like it can't look like this anymore because we'll never have beers. We'll never have these gens to go shop at because why would you just shop online? I'm
Right.
not gonna.
Mhm.
I'm not doing that. I'm curious what you would think. Like, how do you Have you ever thought of that? Like, I think of it, but I don't even know. You reimagine something. There's someone
I
smarter
mean,
than
yeah.
me because I can't think of it. How do you
I,
reimagine is all
I
smarter
can't
than
I
me.
can't I can't answer that, but I can say, like, yeah. I mean, you have to take a modern look at it too. You can't just say let's go back to the '50s and try to bring that back, because those days aren't coming back. So, I mean, you have to look at the landscape of what exists in thriving cities. I can tell you what's around here. We have shops, local mom and pop shops. They're very popular. Not so many. It's not so big about the chains here. It's about different types of restaurants, different types of shops that you can get different kinds of clothing. And yeah, we have the chains and all that kind of stuff too. Um, but I don't know. I think you could take a look at it from a modern perspective. Um, but I don't honestly, I don't know. I'd
Maybe
have to really, no, I'd
I
have to
look.
really dig into it. But
Yeah.
I certainly feel like it's possible. You know, it needs a total reimagining. Like I said, you can't just bring back the malls. And Summit Park is another one, by the way, that I have fond memories of, that I would love
Yeah.
to have seen come back at some point. It's too big. It's too People don't do that. You have to go where people are. So when they do come out, what are they doing? You have to kind of pay attention to that and build off of that. That's not actually a bad idea. Doing some research into that and seeing what people actually do.
Here's an interesting question that I'm not going to have the answer to, but I don't know. Does anyone know who owns all the former plants that have been taken out of service along Buffalo Avenue, i.e., the former Alcoa Chemical and all others who closed up shop? How can these companies just pack up and abandon those sites? Shouldn't they have to clean up these sites and knock down the buildings before they're abandoned? Yeah, that's a great.
So yeah. I don't know the particulars by any stretch of the imagination, but one of the things I've written down for safekeeping is going to whoever owns these companies and figuring out some way, however long it takes, to get rid of all of them. It is the most gargantuan eyesore on the city. Uh, no matter where you come in, like, I mean, you can come in from the north, I suppose, but when you come in through the main ways, when you're going down the scenic parkway and you're like, oh, look at this beautiful river, and then you look over to the right and it's just,
Yeah.
have you ever seen Canadian Bacon? Have you ever seen the
Hmm.
movie Canadian Bacon? One
Yeah.
of my
Oh
favorite
yeah,
movies of
John
all
Candy.
time.
Yeah.
John Candy on the river as they're leaving Candy at the end. They look at across the river. It's home, and they show home, and it's just smokestacks and nasty clouds and all this stuff. And they come from the cleanest city in the world over in Canada. So you know, yeah, I mean that's one of those things that is not. And again, I know like a politician would say, "Oh yeah, we're going to get on that and get them out of here in 4 years." Or we're going to figure out some way to do something. But that's a multi-year deal. But I strongly believe, for the sake of any hope of that area ever being anything other than a paved over grassy area at some point 50 years from now, they need to have those conversations about that because they do nothing. They just sit there.
Yeah. You know what? The other knockout punch that I'm really getting, I'm more than concerned, obviously, and I know you've been involved talking to people. I know Ronnie and everybody else that's in this is the chemicals that are popping up all around. Like, we are, that's something we certainly didn't account for happening. You know what? We didn't. We wouldn't have thought a year ago that we'd be here, right? With this, who knew? And I mean, because we don't think of it, we should have known, I guess. But
Well,
I want to
it's
get
a
your
little
thoughts on all
surprising,
this.
honestly. Yeah, I don't know what it was. A couple years ago, I get on these kicks, and a couple years ago, I got on the Love Cow kick, and I was like, I knew a little bit about it growing up, and went back and watched some stuff, throughout the years. But um, about 3 or 4 years ago, I really started doing a deep dive into that, and come to find out that it was decades prior before that it really set the tone for what was to come. And what I think probably precipitated this whole thing was, I don't know how much you know about this, when they redid the Robert Moses or the power station, I'm sorry, the Niagara Falls power plant, when they were trying, I think there was some sort of canal that was going to be built. Maybe this was in the 20s and long time ago. There was going to be a canal that was going to be built from the river all the way down to where the power plant is, basically. They filled all that in. The companies use that as dumping areas and stuff like that. So when in the 50s, when the power project started digging up all this ground, they found all this just wretched chemicals that were underneath the ground. And of course, back then there wasn't any regulations. There wasn't a whole lot that needed to be done about it. So that stuff has been an issue for far longer than probably a lot of people know. But it is a little surprising that even back in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up there, that adults and people like that would necessarily go along with sort of the official mantra that these areas are now safe. We're going to develop this brand new place called Black Creek, and everything's going to be fine. Because I think as early as the mid to late 2000s, people were reporting issues, and then in the 2010s, for sure, it became a big thing again. Um, and now I feel like the city's on the verge of a reckoning at this point. The town, the city, the whole area, a real reckoning. And I think for the city's part, to take it back to the city needs to be a part of that.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I think that can be done about the city has to be honest about what it knows, what it knew, what it knows, and some of this stuff has to come to light, documents, whatever the case might be, because there has to be a truth telling to the people of this is what went on. We're not going to hide this anymore. It was 50 years ago. It was people long gone. There's no reason to hide this anymore. Yeah, it ain't going to look good for us, but we need to do this because it's owed to you. And I think that's really the only way that we can start turning this around a little bit. Yeah, there's DEC and there's EPA, and it's an utter mess because it's federal and state bureaucracies. But I think you can start taking some initial steps like the ones I just mentioned. I can't speak for what the DEC and what the EPA are doing. I wish that they were more involved. I think what I will say, we need Lois Gibbs 2.0. And that was a lady that would not take no for an answer. She went to some extreme lengths, but it was the only way she could get anyone's attention. And to me, I would be beating the drum day in and day out to make this a national story, put a national spotlight on it, just like they did in 1978 and 79, to where it got the attention of President Carter. And I think that was really the only reason why the Superfund was created in the first place. So
Right.
that I think you got to have somebody that does that.
All right, Thomas. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I want to though close out with. I mean, there's so much. This could be a 3-hour show. But like, where do we start? I think is it? Do you think it's as simple as it probably is? It's probably as simple as changing leadership. That's what you think, right, Tom? Like we need to just
Well, no, it's not just anybody will do. I mean, I
right.
think it has to be. There's time right now, and I know people don't usually declare and do stuff until the springtime or whatever that might be for the primaries. People need to start thinking about it now. Maybe there's somebody that's watching this or that never thought in a million years they'd ever run for office, but there's something about them. They feel like they can talk to people and listen. They feel like they have an organizational skill about themselves, whether it's been developed in work, in the workplace or somewhere else. Somebody that can step up and say, you know what, it's worth it for me to give this a shot. And then start to talk to people and start to build a quote unquote coalition. But I don't think we have to adhere to this political power structure crap that we've been subjected to on a state and national level. The city needs, you know, real people that talk to real
Yeah.
in a real honest way. And I think people, there are a few people that exist out there, but they just have to realize it first themselves, and they have to get started. Don't wait. If you're watching this and you've been thinking, hey, this makes halfway bit of sense. Take the next step. Start talking to some friends. Start talking to some people. Um, it's so much easier said than done. It's a giant thing to ask people to do,
Yeah.
but you kind of get what you get what you put in, and the vast majority of the city doesn't take part in the elections. So I don't know. I just feel like that's the way to really start turning things around.
I have a comment. This is like the uplifting comment of the day. Here, I'm going to bring it up from Michael. I kind of like it though. I strongly believe Niagara Falls is a real gold mine. Now that the city has fallen to rock bottom, there is no way to go but up.
There
I'm
you
good
go.
with that. It is rock bottom. I do think Thomas that we're when I say it, I don't mean to be so negative, but we are kind of we don't if we fell any further into a hole, I don't know how much further we could go. So yeah, there's nowhere to go but up. I believe.
That's
What do you?
that's looking at the glass half full.
Yeah. Wow. Things you don't happen here. Holy smoke. Jeez, Tom. You come from North
Rubbing
Carolina.
off a
We need.
little bit.
Yeah.
Rubbing off a little bit already. Here we go.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you staying this long with me, and of course,
Absolutely, it was a blast.
being involved in the city like you are, and continuing to be involved. Keep it up, man. I hope you come on again. I'll ask you again. You'll be coming back because we got to talk more. We'll have Noelle next time. We'll have Noelle. We'll have
Absolutely.
everybody so we can all get
Yeah, we'll
around the
get we'll
kitchen.
get a whole thing going. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Reach
get you
out to
again.
Dante. I want that debate. I want that debate too. Let's go.
Okay, I definitely will. All right, Thomas. You have a good night. Thank you for
Thank you
joining
so
us.
much. Thank you.
Take care. Thomas Gidlow, Niagara Falls resident. Wasn't a Niagara Falls resident as a kid. He still loves Niagara Falls and wants to see things change. Yeah, Kelly Lynn says we're in a state of emergency. Yeah, we are. Unbelievable reasoning why we're in a state of emergency. I've never seen a state of emergency for grass and potholes. That's absolutely why. The National Guard should come in and attack the potholes. I guess. I don't know. Maybe pepper spray them. I don't know what you do, but a state of emergency over potholes and uh, and grass cutting is insane. Just hire some people at DPW and maybe that'll work. Maybe that'll help, and we can do. They're already doing what they're doing with the little that they have, so maybe just hire some people, and we won't need a state of emergency. But we know what the state of emergency is about. Obviously, it's so we could circumvent the council. Everyone knows this. I don't got to repeat it. You all know out there that's watching. It's just to go around the council so you can do whatever you want to do and give out contracts and all of the crap. That just continues to stomp all over the in quotes Constitution that the Niagara Falls has, a city charter. Um, all right, Dennis Hannon does have signs. Yeah, our friend Dennis Hannon, great friend of the show, um, who is running for Congress against Tim Kennedy. Great guy, one of our favorites. He's been with us for a long time on this podcast. He's running. He's doing good. He does have signs. Reach out to Dennis Hannon if you'd like to put a sign up in your yard for him. He's got an uphill battle, of course, against it is the machine, Kennedy, Tim Kennedy. But he's doing great. He's the kind of person you'd want. Other than that, I think we're going to wrap it up from here. I'm very happy to have Thomas Gidlow with us. That was a great time. He's got a lot of good positive energy and stuff about him. I also think the great thing for me is that when I see young people getting involved, and when I say young, I mean I'm a little bit older because I'm in my 50s, 55. When I see people that are in their 30s getting into this and actually wanting to make a difference, because if I'm in my 30s, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm running. I am running like you wouldn't believe. The door wouldn't be able to hit me in the rear end because I'd be out so fast. It wouldn't even be funny. But it's when I see people that want to stay like that and want to help, that's incredible. So that's what we're gonna need. We're gonna need the younger people to just take it, and us older people that are watching it are just gonna have to realize it's a new world and let them do what they got to do, and that means social media. That means all that stuff. It's gonna be a little different probably than you're used to, but that's fine because the only way the city gets better is it's gonna have to be drastic. We can't go through another guy who's been, who's been in city government before and who just has an axe to grind and just doesn't like the mayor, so he just wants to be mayor, so he can be the mayor, so he can run around, so people can call him mayor, and they can have a special license plate on their car and all sort of crap. We got to get past that and go on to something else. Next week will be episode 310. We'll be back with everybody. Noelle will be back. Jerry, Gail, Robin will be back in our normal location. I appreciate all you guys for watching. If you like our show, one thing I never always forget, we are on YouTube. I'll put that out later so you guys can go there if you ever wanted to. Also, if you do like this podcast, hit the like button for us. You know how you can do that on the page. Share it as much as you can. And Robin's working on a really good guest for next week, so we might have someone who could really shed some more light on what's going on here in the city. So, all right, everybody, I will be back next week at the same time with my co-host Noelle and everyone else. So, that's it for here. I will talk to you guys. I just got to get my music. Talk to you guys next week. Thanks for joining us.